Today, we're talking about emotional time travel errors. Let me explain this. This has to do with love, loss, when we lose something, when we have to give up something, when we let go of addictions, junk food, relationships, getting in and out, out of relationships, and the stress we handle then, the emotional pain, addiction, when it comes to thinking that our life will be so different once we give this addiction up. So it says, these are from my notes that I took, it says, thinking something will be unbearable, thinking that what is in the future will be too difficult when really our bodies and mind are capable of handling it. And man, there's truth there. When the emotional time travel of putting ourselves in the future and almost feeling the suffering, feeling our future emotional state. We're not even in that state yet, but we're putting ourselves in the future and thinking how terrible it'll be, how bad it will be if I lose this person, if I get out of this relationship, if I give up this drug, how will I function? If I give up sweets, how am I going to indulge? How am I going to be happy? How am I going to calm the cravings? It's like we get away from that presence and we go ahead and launch ourselves into the future and feel this emotional state that's not real. And then we let that affect our decisions then. We let that scare us move away from making an accurate and healthy decision. So it says one reason we wrongly predict what will make us happy in the future is that we overestimate and we overlook our capacity to tolerate and even adapt to discomfort. Guys, this is some deep stuff. It's hot in here, but I can handle it. We wrongly predict what will make us happy in the future. Okay? Because we overestimate and overlook our own capacity, right? So when we launch ourselves front, we overlook our own capacity to tolerate and even adapt to discomfort. So a lot of times, maybe you have given up something, and then you realize it wasn't that bad, right? It wasn't that bad. And why doesn't this stick with us? Like, why hasn't it developed to look at everything that we need to get out of our lives? Is if I give it up now, yes, I may suffer a bit, but I have the capacity to tolerate emotionally, mentally, physically, to tolerate and adapt to discomfort. That's, once you understand that, what have you been prolonging to give up, to let go of, because you're here now and you're thinking about how you will feel then. Okay, you're underestimating your own capacity. So with that knowledge, what are some things that you have been meaning to give up but it seems like you can't live without it. It seems like the stress would be far too much to handle. Now, so we have that. We understand that our capacity is oftentimes very greater. We hold a lot of power within us, right? Within our minds. But our minds like to shoot us forward, time travel to the future, and make it seem like it's unbearable. All right, that's the message there. Now, on the flip side, let's go to the flip side. When it comes to our happiness, what is the obstacle? Okay, and here it is. It says, a great obstacle to happiness is to anticipate too great a happiness. Now that I've felt that so much. I remember growing up thinking, if I get this Game Boy Advance, I'm going to be so happy. If I can get that girl, oh, my life is going to be changed. I'm going to be so happy. If I get that new car, I am going to be so happy. whatever, man. There are so many things. And that's a whole nother topic of diving into. If I attach my happiness to nothing, then I can always be happy, right? Well, that's a different talk, but anticipating too great a happiness will actually keep us from being happy. And I don't know why we don't see that more, because when we're constantly consuming, and nothing's making us happy, it's like, why isn't this making us happy? Well, it says when we enter into a situation with the goal of becoming happier, you actually make that less likely to occur. Man, it is true, okay? It is true. I mentioned some things I'm sure you've experienced. When I get this new car, when I get this new girl, when I get this new tattoo, when I get this new pair, this new outfit, this new purse, this new consume. Always consuming to try to fill that void, right? That escape, to escape from this void. We think it's going to make us, we anticipate so much, and then we're left empty. You know, we might get a little dopamine dump. We might get some good feelings, but then we're left right back where we were with some shiny new object. And I'm reading few more of these notes, seeing if there's anything I can point out. And when we constantly chasing this happiness, it causes us to make some irrational decisions about what's important. We tend to miss, wait, what's important? What do I want? What's going to fill that void? Let me go into it now. I learned this a long time ago, that if I don't attach my happiness to anything, then I can be pretty much happy wherever I am with the things that I have, with the things that I don't have, right? And I'm sure the desire will always be there to want to consume, to want to get more things, right? To add to my self, my value. But I'm sure we all have been in the emptiness that occurs afterwards. So it sounds good, don't attach your happiness to anything and you can always be happy. But to live by that, to live with just being happy, to be present, to be here, that's very difficult. But when you do discover this, when you do discover that nothing is going to make me complete, right? Nothing is going to make me fall in love with myself and care, not care, but love myself and be completely confident in who I am. Love this thing, this body, this mind, right? Nothing's going to complete that. Then how much more can I enjoy the objects that I get, that I introduce into my life? It's no longer about chasing, but okay, I get this and I really enjoy it, right? I don't need this in my life to make me happy, but I really do enjoy it. I don't need this person in my life to make me happy, but I really do enjoy them, okay? I don't need alcohol in my life to get me into a good state, but once in a while I enjoy it, right? Look, how cool is that, guys? Look at that in different ways. More of a celebration. When it comes to the drinking, I don't need it in my life. I don't need it to make me feel good and great, but I can celebrate. I can enjoy it. I like to enjoy it sometimes. Food, good food, fattening food, decadent chocolates, whatever, man. I don't need it to make me happy, but I enjoy it. And that's super cool to me, to learning to enjoy. That fulfillment doesn't come by consuming. And to separate those in two categories. Consuming for fulfillment and consuming for enjoyment, consuming for celebration. Now, man, I'm sweating. Now let's finish this up. So we talked about our capacity to move forward, our capacity to let go and move on and deal with stress that's in the future. So you don't want to live too much in your head, projecting yourself and your life into the future. It's going to cause you to make the wrong decisions and not be able to follow through with letting go. And we learned about happiness comes from, that's a quote that I made up. But a great obstacle to our happiness is to anticipate too great a happiness, to becoming so happy once we get something. We understand that's not going to fulfill me. That's not going to make me whole. And there's one more thing I wanted to point out. A lot of times these days, you get that, when it comes to being happy, the Yolo mentality, the Yolo lifestyle of, you only live once, so let's indulge. Let's go throughout the day and pleasure the flesh. Pleasure, stimulate. We're only going to live once, so let's make the best of it. And, it sounds good in theory. It sounds very good. But what does that do, right? What does that do when it comes to dealing with stress in the future? Now, I wrote down this, and this is, listen to this. It says, the problem with the hedonistic philosophy, hedonistic as in live for the pleasures of the body, live to please the body every day, okay? This hedonistic philosophy, the problem here is that people become overly skeptical of anything negative. This YOLO mentality is making us soft. It's making my generation soft. Because we're not taught to grind, man. Fall in love with that grind. We're not taught to keep going be so consistent day in and day out. Commit yourself. We have these motivational things and these pictures on Instagram, but really taught and shown by our people that we look up to. No, we're told to YOLO, man. Get in the club, have fun, drink, party, sleep around, just please the body, please the lust of the flesh, right? We're not taught that it's okay to be hardened by stress, to be hardened by life, to approach life with a very stoic philosophy instead of this hedonistic, right, where we take life as it comes at us. We accept it, okay? If I'm in the universe, and if I'm part of this, right, I'm part of what the stars are made out of. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. If I'm part of this universe, and it's taking care of itself, I'm part of it, I'm going to be completely fine. If I die today, if you die today, if someone close to me dies, if my house gets burned down, a tornado hits, I'm going to be okay because I'm part of this. I don't mean to go off, but a stoic philosophy, come what may, or a hedonistic philosophy of, I'm going to overreact. I'm going to be conditioned to overreact, to look at hard times as very negative, right? When all I'm thinking about is the lust and pleasing the flesh. So, and life has a way of hardening you. It has a way of hardening you, and it's important for us to learn that it's not all about the good. It's not all about fulfilling what this wants, okay? It's about experiencing, about observing this life, how you handle change, how you handle stress, and coming to a point where you realize that these future things are going to happen. I'm going to be completely capable to tolerate, to manage the situation, right? That this too shall pass. So guys, thank you for listening. If you have anything to say, I gotta get out of this car, man. I'm sweating so bad. If you got anything to say, drop me a comment. Please subscribe and let me know what you think. It's been awesome. Glad I can share this. This is from the upside of your dark side. And I will see you guys soon. Take care.